Hey guys, TGKS Productions. In this Red Dead Online video, we're going to discuss how to sedate, sample, and kill the most recent legendary animal added to Red Dead Online, the milk coyote. Now, I will also be putting an emphasis on completing the animal field guide in this video, but before that, let's look at the first animal sighting mission I encountered, or the first variation I encountered for the milk coyote.
You know, I seem to spend half my time out here trying to apologize to my brothers and sisters for the sins of my species. What gives us the right to destroy life on a whim with complete impunity? And where will it end? 50, 100 years from now? Ever? Well, there have been reports of a coyote leading its pack on a rampage through the town of Blackwater. Revenge? Who can say? But it sounds as unique as it is ferocious, white with blue eyes. Do you think you could track it and get me a sample? Before it's another head on someone's wall?
So real quickly here, we're going to take a look at the search area or in this legendary animal sighting mission for the legendary milk coyote. From variation to variation with these animal sighting missions, the search area does vary slightly, but for the most part, it's still going to be the same general area. For example, in the around the area of Great Plains, Blackwater. Specifically in this first variation, I have to actually travel to Blackwater. It may not necessarily always be like that, but nonetheless, the search area is going to be similar or around, like I said, the area of Great Plains and Blackwater. Now, once I got to Blackwater, my search area did shrink a little bit, and I wasn't really sure exactly what to do. I just had to search for signs from Legendary Milk Coyote, and actually ended up giving me a hint you can see on the mini-map for a clue. So what I ended up doing is I went over to there. You can actually see the clue glowing using Eagle Eye. That's usually how you find the clues most effectively, and also using the hints. But I inspected this clue here, and then pretty much after I inspected this first clue, I don't know if there's any other clues here that you can expect. This is the one that I happened to inspect, and pretty much where the minimap pointed me to go towards. But once I inspected this, pretty much the legendary milk coyote ended up actually being in the alleyway where the sheriff's department is in Blackwater. So I really only had to search or inspect one clue here, and then I was able to go after the legendary milk coyote. So after going through an introductory cutscene for the milk coyote, we have the option to either obviously track it and then ultimately either sedating, sampling it, or killing it and delivering it to Gus, or the skin to Gus, in order for him to craft the outfit for us. I will say, ensure you have your horse available. You are not going to catch this coyote on foot. It is going to run very quickly. You'll likely have some other coyotes with it, so ensure you have your horse. I'm not sure if you can exactly lose legendary milk coyote. I have not lost it in any of the I've done 4 variations total. I've not lost in any of the 4 variations, but it may be possible. Therefore, I would ensure you have your horse handy. With this first mission here, I decided to sedate it. It took around 3 to 4 sedative rounds to fully sedate it, and it did vary from mission to mission, just because obviously depending on it, Rockstar has confirmed this, depending on where you shoot it, there's certain areas of the animal that are more critical than others, therefore may sedate it more quickly. But usually around 3 to 5 shots sedated the legendary milk coyote, and from there you'll be able to grab the sample, which is what I've done with this first mission here. Now, as I stated with the banded gator legendary animal sighting mission, you can see that I got my first sample, but I also earned 300 naturalist roll XP if you do decide to sample the milk coyote, you will earn 300 roll XP, whereas opposed if you kill it, you will not earn the 300 roll XP. So I just figured I'd state that. I know a lot of players don't really care about that, but like I said, just for everybody's general knowledge. So this is variation number 2 for the legendary milk coyote, and you can see, once again, same general area, but not necessarily the exact pinpointed area that I'm going to have to search. For example, I'm not going to be going into Blackwater with this mission, at least not the beginning of it, but it ends up having me searching for a poacher's camp, and I end up coming across these 2 poachers. It's not really a camp. In fact, the other 2 variations, I actually do come across more of what could be considered a poacher's camp. But in any case, I end up just pretty much killing these 2 poachers, and there was a clue there. I inspected the clue. Once I inspected the clue, I had to follow the legendary milk coyote trail down to Blackwater, and from there, the legendary animal coyote spawned, and pretty much just had to follow it or chase it down like I did in the first variation. And the only difference with this variation and the first one is I decided to kill it, because I obviously want to eventually be able to get the outfit that can be crafted from Gus. So I decided to kill it. I wanted to, obviously I ensured I had enough nitro ammo on me with the elephant rifle, because that's one of really the best weapons to use for killing legendary animals. Took around 3 shots to kill the legendary animal. I only killed the legendary milk coyote 1 time, so I'm not sure if maybe this, it varies a little bit, but when I did kill it, it took about 3 nitro shots to kill it. From there, I skinned it, and pretty much the mission was over from that point. Another thing I should probably mention, if you were going for killing the legendary milk coyote, I mentioned this in the banded gator video, I would recommend that you store it in your hunting wagon. If you own the trader role and you own that, just in case you get kicked offline, you won't lose the milk coyote skin. Do not put it, if you want to do that, don't put it on your horse, because you really can't get it off your horse unless you were to sell it or discard it. And if you discard it, you're going to lose it permanently. At least that's from my experience. So if you do want to sort of troubleshoot in case you get, kicked off online, and you want to store it in your hunting wagon, make sure you do that first, and pretty much as soon as you spawn out of the legendary animal sighting mission. Now, before we get into another variation of these legendary animal sighting missions, I figured I'd show you guys the legendary milk coyote coat, and ensure you sell the pelt beforehand, because otherwise the coat will not show up. So I sold it for $30.50. I'm not really sure if you have to sell the fang or not, because really just the pelt is required to make the coat. So I'm not really sure if you need the fang or not as well. I'm not even really sure what the fang is for, but you at least need to sell the pelt. And if you go into garment sets and the buying options for Gush, you'll see it's just labeled the milk coat, and it sells for $622, a little bit cheaper, over $100 cheaper than the bandit coat, which was last week's legendary, I guess, clothing item that could be crafted from the banded gator. But nonetheless, pretty cool, pretty similar to a lot of the other legendary animal, I guess, coats or clothing items that we have, but nonetheless, definitely probably one of the more sought off items, and what most players are going to want to go for with this legendary milk coyote. So here is variation number 3. You see here, again, same general search area. Obviously, the more pinpointed search area will be a little bit different, will vary slightly, but still same general Great Plains Blackwater area. And if you're wondering why I'm doing so many variations, or so many, I'm repeating the same legendary animal so many times, is because I want to, besides killing and skinning it in order to craft the coat, I also want to get 3 samples, because you can hold 3 of every, or 3 samples of each legendary animal. So I wanted to max out the samples for the milk coyote, so that was the other reason why I ended up doing 3, or really, I guess, 4 legendary animal sighting missions for the milk coyote. I wanted to ensure that I skinned it for the coat, and also got the 3 samples as well. So getting back more specifically to the variations, it's actually kind of cool. I even came across a photographer. I think that was just sort of programmed by Rockstar, put in the mission by Rockstar as like an extra props. That's always cool when they do stuff like that. It makes the missions a little bit more unique. But essentially, I had to search for this poacher's camp, and I actually do come across more of what could be considered a poacher's camp when compared to really the last variation, which really wasn't a poacher's camp. Poacher's camp with this variation I found to be more north of the search area, or what would be like north of Great Plains, maybe more west of Blackwater, but the northern part of the search area, more specifically this narrowed search area, and ended up having to take out around 10 poachers. It was very similar to like a poached animal mission from Harriet, where to take out 10 animals, or I'm sorry, 10 NPCs, and then I had to actually free the legendary milk coyote after that. Now, once you take out all the enemies, you actually have to walk up to the cage in order to open it, unlike really all the other like poached missions where you have to shoot it open. You actually have to just open it up manually. And I try to snap a quick picture here because this is the only part of the animal field guide that I had left, because I obviously sampled, sedated it, I killed and skinned it. In the midst of that, I also studied and tracked it. So at this point, I just had to get a photograph of it. Now, discuss a little bit more of an efficient way of getting a photograph in the last variation that we're going to go over, but it took about 5 sedative rounds to sedate this milk coyote. In this mission, I said it takes around 3 to 5 sedative rounds. I probably didn't get as many critical shots as the first time that I did it, because I believe there's only like around 3 or 4 shots to sedate. It took 5 this time, but nonetheless, we got it sedated. We're able to grab our second sample at this point. Alright, so now we're going to go over the fourth and final variation, get our last sample we need here. Once again, you guys are probably getting tired of me saying this, but same general search area, although obviously the narrow search area will be a little bit different. I had to come across another poacher's camp just like the last variation. However, it was in a different location. It was more towards the center of Great Plains, and also it was actually near the P in Plains, to more specifically pinpoint that on the map, or to give you better coordinates, better idea where that was located. And with this one was a little bit different. Instead of actually taking out the poachers, there was a clue nearby, and actually once I inspected the clue, it actually gave me a track to follow and pretty much led me right to the legendary milk coyote, and from there I was able to obviously sample it. What I did, however, aim to do, and it was actually fairly challenging in this mission, was photograph it. Photographing it at this point was really the only part of the only thing that I had to complete for the animal field guide. I completed everything else, and I will tell you, photographing the legendary milk coyote is very challenging because it pretty much just keeps running away from me. I even tried to take a blending tonic at one point to try to see if I get closer to it without it really, running away or noticing me. It didn't seem to really work. I even tried to run parallel to it with the blending tonic, trying to see if I could sort of circle in on it, without it really noticing. It didn't work. It's very difficult to photograph this, and I really have, to be honest, I don't have a really good solid method at getting a good photograph. So obviously if someone does, definitely leave a comment. But I did end up luckily getting a photograph of it. It wasn't a very good one. I was using the advanced camera, so I pretty much just waited until it lit up green. There's a lot of coyotes that run near it, so sometimes you might take a picture of the other coyotes. So obviously you're gonna want to be careful of that. But you will likely be able to eventually get the picture. It's just going to be very challenging. I will definitely say that for sure. So pretty much after completing the animal field guide, I sedated it, wanted to grab my last sample, took 4 sedative shots here. Like I said, it takes about between 3 to 5 sedative rounds to sedate the legendary milk coyote. Sedated it, grabbed my third and final sample here. Again, you can hold 3 samples for every legendary animal. For all the regular animals, it's up to 10 samples, so it's much more decreased or minimized for legendary animals. But I want to just pretty much get this out of the way. That's what I went through 4 variations. I'm not saying that I went through all variations for the milk coyote, but I assure you that if you do go through a number of variations to get the skin as well as complete or get 3 samples for the milk coyote, you very likely will encounter at least 1 or 2 of the variations that I have encountered. In any case, guys, that's pretty much everything I wanted to go over in this video. I hope you found it very beneficial. I'm really enjoying these legendary animal sighting missions, making it way easier to collect samples as well as acquire the skins for the legendary animals. But as always, guys, please don't forget to like, subscribe, share this video. Be sure to comment if you have any questions, and have a great day.
I don't want to rush you, but stocks are looking good.